Live from the backstretch at historic Saratoga Race Course, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow. Racing Across America is brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. When you can't make it to the track, make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.
Also brought to you by Wizard Race and Sports.
Good morning and welcome to Racing Across America on this Saturday morning, the final Saturday of Saratoga. Seth Merrow here live from our Clare Court location where we just had a few horses go behind me as it is quieting down here on a Saturday morning. Again, by the time we get to the 10 o'clock hour, things kind of quiet down a little bit. So there's usually a little activity hangs around on Clare Court, but as you know, normally, and I continue to say for people who don't see it on other days, if I'm looking out into space sometimes on either of the shows, the starting gate is the 7 furlong starting gate is right out our tent here. And a lot of times there's a lot of activity going on there and horses schooling and the bond horses are going back and forth. So I'm just looking at the activity and enjoying our location here on the backstretch at Saratoga as we have through the first, 37, 38 days of the meet at this point. It's always a lot of fun to be up here. But we move into the final Saturday. Jockey Club Gold Cup this weekend, spin away this afternoon. Lots of great action as we head into the last 3 days of Saratoga 2024, which was started with bonus Saratoga, Belmont at Saratoga. So it's been a little extra action this year. Today on the show, a little bit later on, I had Ramon on yesterday, Ramon Dominguez. I had Ramon and Humberto Chavez from the chaplaincy to talk about the good work the chaplaincy does on the backstretch. And as we talked a little bit about Ramon's career, he had that crazy 6-win day here, which included a win in the Saranac, yesterday's stakes race. And I said I should have pulled up the video I shot because he was in the winner's circle for a while. Congratulations. And then in the clubhouse, the bottom floor of the clubhouse, there was a long time getting there. And then finally I picked him up outside, and the walk back to the jocks room was fun with people taking pictures and autographs. So we'll show that in a little bit. But we'll start things out today. A couple days ago, Thursday afternoon, right after we got done here at 11 o'clock, Mark Casse came over. He couldn't make it earlier, so we said, come in, we'll tape something, and we'll drop it in on Saturday. So got a taped interview a couple of days ago with Mark Casse. He's had a phenomenal meet here, but beyond as well. He's had a great Woodbine as usual, and King's Plate Day, one with a couple of stakes runners up there. So we'll hit on that and more. Coming up next, Trainer Mark Casse. Happy to be joined now by our friend Mark Casse. Mark, good morning.
Good morning.
Happy to have you on board after a really good meet. And the first thing I have to ask, do you come into Saratoga, do you set a goal? And I'm guessing if you do, you surpassed it.
I don't know if I really set a goal. I can usually tell, I think, if we're going to have a fairly good meet. I don't think you could ever imagine that we would have as great a meet as we had. Now I don't know what to do from this point going on. You know, it'll be tough to repeat, but we're going to give it a try.
Yeah. I don't blame you. Again, a very, very solid meet so far here at Saratoga, and I'm just looking the actual numbers. 48 starts, 15 wins, 33%. And a lot of those were with 2-year-olds, and I mentioned it when you sat down, and I wanted to go back to just a few days ago. I like this horse. Put her on top. We're going to take a look at Charlotte's Heart, a first-time starter, sibling to Casse. But again, this win the other day up here in the debut effort was a pretty good-looking run. What were your thoughts going in, and what were your thoughts coming out for Charlotte's Heart?
Yeah, I was concerned. She was ready to run when we first got here. She's a horse that I had planned to run in early, and she got fairly sick. She was sick for almost a week. Came back, and I breezed her a couple times, and she didn't breeze to my satisfaction. So I wasn't sure we were going to get her started here. But her last couple of breezes were pretty good. I told Javier, I said, look, I just like to see her settle, going 5.5. That's kind of, but they know that I said, let her settle and see if she'll come running. And that's what she did.
Was that the game plan? Because, the chart says hit the gate, but was sitting in the back of the pack and made a late run. And, with a first-time starter like that's an impressive move.
Yeah, I tell my riders, winning is not my – I don't put emphasis on winning first time out. I always tell them I'd rather be a closing fourth than a dying third. So I want them to come running. And so he knows that.
Yeah.
So, yes, she did hit the gate, but he wasn't going to rush her off her feet anyways. Probably, she would have been a little closer.
I was going to ask you that. You've kind of answered my question because I pulled up with Formulator your stats at this meet with the 2-year-olds. 26 2-year-old starters, 9 wins for 35% with the 2-year-olds. 2 for 9 with first-time starters, though. So that plays into what you alluded to. Maybe a little experience plays into your 2-year-olds.
Yeah, I think the last time I saw it, I saw a statistic for this year where I think we had 16 second-time starters and 12 of them have won, or 11. Yeah.
Oh,
we've won 35 2-year-old races this year. So, yeah, I think that statistic kind of tells it all. And you saw Sandman, he made his first start at Churchill, came up here and won. And one more time, she had a start down at Churchill, came here and won. So normally I don't bring a lot of 2-year-olds here, but I changed some things in our training center and we tried I wanted to be ready early. And I felt a lot of times when I've come here in the past, I was trying to play catch up. This wasn't catch-up time. The only catch-up time was Charlotte's Heart, just because she was sick. These horses you're seeing that I'm running, they were primed and ready.
And Charlotte's Heart again ran so well the other day. Do you have any thoughts on what might be next for
her? Not really. She has a tremendous pedigree, and we always buy some, well-bred fillies every year for Live Oak and Mrs. Weber. Right now, the goal would be to get black type, try to get some stakes because that'll stay with her for the rest of her life and as a broodmare and everything. So, and I think she's very capable of that. So I don't really have a next step just yet.
As I mentioned earlier, the sibling in Casa Creek, I walked over and said to Lee Einstein, well, hey, living up to the older sibling. He said he went out and took a look at her in the paddock and said she looked great out there. And notable also, bought right up here, down the street.
Yeah, we've had a lot of luck. I think a couple of days prior, we won the Grade 3 at Woodbine with a filly from Mrs. Weber that we bought out of the Saratoga sale. We've had a lot of luck buying out of the Saratoga sale.
Yeah, nice. That's always fun to follow the horses that play out up here. Also wanted to pull up a stakes victory earlier in the meet with a horse I've liked throughout the career, and that's why I wanted to pull up and see what the game plan might be going forward for Pounce. We're going to take a look at the Lake George. Pounce is going to be the number 8 horse, 3-year-old filly. Came out of a third in the Penn Oaks. But as I say, earlier in the career, I had been on board this horse and certainly liked her. Then follows up that Penn Oaks third with the win in the Lake George. And I pulled up Equibase. Horse has been working the past couple of weeks. Any plans going forward for Pounce?
She is. She's going to go to Kentucky Downs.
Okay.
She's going to run next week in the Kentucky Downs sprint for 3-year-old fillies. I think it's $2 million or something. It's 6.5 furlongs, which is maybe just a touch short for her. But I always equate another 16th or another eighth of a mile down there because, you run uphill and everything. So I think it'll set up nice for her. Big purse. That's where she's going.
Yeah, no,
I like the timing as well. I don't like to run her. I find when she gets 4 or 5 weeks between races, she runs better. She's run a couple clunkers and tried to figure it out why. And then her last race was very good here.
Yeah, no, that last race was impressive. As I said, she's impressed me throughout the career. So what's the game plan? The workouts were up here. If you head down to Kentucky Downs, what's the mechanics of going? How soon do you?
Well, it's very difficult because they have a very small stable area. The other thing is you can't hardly train there. I think you can jog or whatever. So you'll see, for instance, we have, this is now the time when the horses are starting to move out of here. And most of the horses have no more races. We entered today for the last time for this meet. So, for instance, we have 2 horses running Sunday down there. They leave on Friday here. Yeah, there's not you just can't train down there. Yeah. So, anyways,
makes sense. Also wanted to bring up you had some nice success up at Woodbine the other day in the second running of the King's Plate Day. Filo di Ariana, a nice winner. Shifty, a nice winner.
Yeah, Shifty was very impressive. Yeah. Shifty's actually so we're going to do the reverse there. Shifty's going to come to New York and run in the Miss Grillo.
Okay.
So she's going to go there. It gives her a little more time. And then I'm taking, I have a filly called Vixen that won at Ellis Park very impressively. And one more time is they're going to run in the Natalma. We're going to bring Shifty down and run her in the Miss Grillo. It's like, for me, it's like air traffic control.
Well, and when I pulled up your Equibase, it was interesting. Obviously, you're still a prominent presence and doing very well again this season up at Woodbine, including that Stakes Day. But in New York, and you had one the other day down at Gulfstream, and so you're all over the place. Yeah. We're going to be up Woodbine Mile. You're going to have some horses running that day?
We are, possibly Philo.
Okay. Philo. Will look really good.
And we're probably gonna we're flirting with the idea of my boy Prince, who was second in the King's Plate. He's a 3-year-old, but he's a really good turf horse. We're thinking about running him in there and dropping him back to a mile.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see, but we'll have a few. That's a big day. That's Natalma Day, the Grade 1 Natalma for 2-year-old fillies, and then also the summer Grade 1 2-year-old colts. I think we'll have 3 or 4 in each division.
They're both winning your ends, right?
Yeah, they're winning your ends. We have, knock on wood, we have a very strong bunch of young horses, so we're going to attack that pretty hard.
Well, that has clearly been evidenced up here. I wanted to touch on also coming up this weekend here. You have a couple coming up in the Spinaway, and I pulled up some replays here. Why don't we start with Sherbini, runs second in the Schuylerville behind the Queen's MG. She's going to be the number 3 horse. Queen's MG is the number 11. What are your expectations in the Spinaway this weekend for Sherbini?
She ran really funny. She wouldn't go the first part of it. Her first start, she won at Churchill. Florent rode her, and she ran well. She stayed pretty close. He said he couldn't get her to go the first part of this race. This race is 3/4. She closes nicely.
She's going now.
Yeah, she closes. She came from 20, 25 lengths back. So I think the added distance is going to help her. More importantly, I've seen her mature and get stronger and better since that last start. So I would expect her to run really well in the Spinaway. A lot of it's going to be how she handles an inside post in the kickback. I think that's what got her the last time. So hopefully she handles that well.
You also have Salted in coming out of a couple of second place finishes, one of which we're going to look at. Still a maiden, but has run nicely in the 2 starts so far. I liked this horse last time, and I'm looking forward to the return on the weekend for Salted. Salted in here is going to be the number 6 horse. The 7 Immersive will be the winner. So what are your expectations for Salted?
So you're not really getting to see the best part of this. So what happened was Salted stumbled really badly at the start, so much that she was pretty well out of the race. Jose said he went to plan B, which was just to protect her and go around. And he said all at once she was passing horses. And he said, midway in the race,
plan C now.
She might win. So he went back. And so for her to overcome that start, the PPs don't tell the true story. Yeah. I mean, she showed a lot of determination. Our feeling is she should have been a winner. She has a huge family. I trained her mom. Her mom was a grade 1 winner. We think she's something special, and we're going to give her a shot. You know, you don't get a lot of opportunities to go after grade 1s, and so we're going to give her a chance.
Yeah, I remember Salty. Salty was a nice
Yeah.
runner. And as they say, I was kind of on board her because of the
Yeah.
breeding. That's what I love here up there at Saratoga. I love to look up the 2-year-olds.
She's another one that, you know, ran good first time, but not great.
Yeah.
And was sitting on running great, and just got unlucky.
So what is your personal game plan after you leave Saratoga? Where do you go? I mean, your home base
this is
down
a
in
big
Ocala, obviously.
This is a big month for us because so as soon as we leave here, my wife and I go to Lexington to start recruiting the youngsters. They're selling over 4,000 horses.
Yeah.
Takes about 3 weeks. We'll be there every day. This is an important time. September's big. There's a lot of big races in September, but the most important for us, I always tell everybody, you know, I think we've won the Natalma in the summer. They're both grade 1s. I think we've won 7 or 8 times each, or 5, 1 and 7. And I've never been to one.
Because you're
I tell everybody, they'll say, "Why aren't you there?" And I said, "Well, that book's been written.
Yeah.
There's only pictures that can be added." I said, "You know, we're trying to find the next group," and that's, you know, and that's what I feel is my strong suit is being able to find young horses and try to make them stars, and I enjoy it. I think I've been doing it for a long time, 40 some years. I think I'm pretty good at it, and so we're not going to change anything.
Well, again, as evidenced by your Saratoga season with the 2-year-olds. Did you buy anything down the street here this year?
We did. We bought, Mrs. Weber bought 5, I believe.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we did.
So something to look forward to for next
Yes,
summer.
for sure.
Yeah. Mark, always appreciate your visit. Appreciate very accommodating with your time and whatnot. Again, congratulations on a really, really nice Saratoga meet. Good luck going forward.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll take a break and be right back. More Racing Across America after this. Thanks again to Mark Casse for taking the time to sit in with us on Thursday afternoon. I think I sent it to a break there, but we're coming up against the clock because, again, Talking Horses will come up at 10:30 today on the NYRA side. And I'll remind you that today, scheduled to sit with Andy Sterling is Andy Beyer. So that should be fun. So we want to get to that. And I have the tape I promised yesterday. Again, I had Ramon Dominguez in yesterday with Humberto Chavez. They talked about the chaplaincy. Humberto, the chaplain, and the executive director, Ramon, the president of the chaplaincy board. And they do great work on the backside. But we also talked a little bit about Ramon's career. And we talked about his big 6-win day up here, which was just about this time in 2012. It's hard to believe it was that long ago. September 2nd, 2012. Part of the victory, the 6 victories, was the Saranac, which we ran yesterday. So again, it was right this time of year, which led to a fabulous season that year for Ramon as well. Put the exclamation point on it, actually. But I had followed him out of the clubhouse that day on the walk back to the jocks room, and it put it up on YouTube, and it had been popular over the years. I said yesterday with Ramon, I should have pulled that up because it's a lot of fun to watch. You get stopped and autographs and high fives and whatnot. So I have it for you today. It's a couple minutes long, maybe 3 minutes long. So you can watch Ramon Dominguez back in 2012 after his 6-win day, 6 of 7, I believe it was, here at Saratoga. We'll take a look at that. I'll be back to wrap things up in just a few.
Coming out on the jockey line, folks. Jockey line. Coming on the jockey line. You gotta be aggressive. Who's 10? Good luck, Ramon. Congratulations.
Again, I believe it was an incredible 6 of 7 that day for Ramon, but he gets 6 victories, and you can see the fans were totally into it. The walk back to the jockeys room was a lot of fun there with folks taking pictures, getting autographs, giving congratulations. On the way to a record-breaking season, Ramon had 68 victories here at Saratoga that year in 2012. That was kind of the exclamation point because it was right at the end of the season that he came up with that 6-win day. So, again, had Ramon in yesterday. I said, should have pulled that up. And then I thought, well, I'll play it this morning because it was a lot of fun. So, again, interesting side note for a day that kind of corresponds to our last weekend. As I said, part of that 6-win day was the Saranac, which we ran here yesterday. Today here at Saratoga, it's the Spin Away, the Prioress, the Flower Bowl. Great day of stakes action up here. Keep that in mind. Overall, Kentucky Downs has the Nashville Derby today, $3.1 million for the 3-year-olds on the turf. We talked a little bit about that one yesterday with our friend Tom Bellhouse from West Point. They have Cagino and Carson's Run in there. Some other interesting runners as well. Joe O'Brien has Stromberg, White Palomino from Chad Brown. See the Thunder, European import for Cherie DeVoe. Brendan Walsh has Cameo Performance. Fun field in there in the Nashville Derby. That'll go off at about 4:15 Central. That makes it about 5:15 our time. Del Mar going off 6, 7, 8:15. 9 actually, so 6:13 their time, Pacific Classic, so 9:13 our time, Pacific Classic, which again lost a little bit of its luster with the scratch of Adair Manor, but still keep that in mind for this afternoon as well. But as I say, great stakes action up here at Saratoga. Also today here at the track, if you're headed up, take your picture with the Stanley Cup. Out by the Jock Silks room from 3 to 4, the Stanley Cup will be on location here, and you can go get your picture taken with the Stanley Cup. Don't forget, tomorrow it's the Windbreaker giveaway. That's tomorrow, Sunday, here at the racetrack. Today, Clubhouse Racebook, it's the King of the Hill contest. Keep that in mind. Bounty bet today at Capital OTB. Play with your Capital OTB bet account. Play the late pick 5, the last pick 5 at Saratoga for your shot at the bounty. And entries are still open for tomorrow's Pick 3 bankroll. So put your name in the hat to see if you can get on the bankroll team for tomorrow. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. Don't forget, coming up in a couple of minutes, we'll switch over to NYRA Talking Horses. Andy Serling, joined by the legendary Andy Beyer. Hopefully Andy Beyer does as well as he did a couple of years ago, where he gave out 9 winners on top. His annual visit with Andy Serling, and we'll see if he can live up to that. I don't know, that'll be tough, but we'll see if he can do it. Always fun to hear what Andy Beyer has to say. So that's coming up in a few minutes right here. But I'm going to wrap it up. I'm just looking. I think I hit with all my notes. Tomorrow morning, our regular times, but again, there's going to be an early post time at NYRA, so we're going to wrap at 10:30 again. So we're 9 to 9:45 with the handicapper support. Loose on the lead with Steve Bick will be 9:45 to 10:30 tomorrow. So mark your calendars for that. Otherwise, enjoy the racing this afternoon. Cash some tickets. Have some fun. I'll tell you, the weather forecast up here was a little dicey for today, but the morning has been fabulous. The sun is shining out here. So knock wood, it keeps up through the rest of the day and the weekend as well. Enjoy the racing. See you tomorrow.
You've been watching Racing Across America. Racing Across America has been brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. When you can't make it to the track, make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.
Also brought to you by Wizard Race and Sports.
The second race, scratch number 3, Royal Presence.